Good afternoon, this is Lynx. I have a subject here that people ask me about all the time when I do one-on-one coaching with people, when I in my classes, and even people who just send me questions. They ask about what happens when I do a reading and I think it's right, and it turns out to not be the case. Now, I did a video a while back on why predictions don't come true, so you might want to take a look at that one. And then there's this really interesting video on YouTube about the Mandela effect. A young man who he's a teenager, and he does this thing about timelines and the Mandela effect, and you should take a look at that. If you divine it all, you should take a look at it, because it'll tell you something about what's going on with timelines and time. He's extremely intelligent and very articulate, so you can give that a look. But I'm going to show you something else too. Sometimes when you get an answer from an oracle, it is very subtle, the difference between a yes or a no and the oracle answering what the question is that the person really has. And your job is to decipher the difference. So it has something to do with how you ask the questions and what you expect the answer to be. Now, first of all, if you're wanting to see a certain outcome for your client, you're going to influence what happens in the cards, because what's going to happen is, let's say someone asks me if their relationship's going to work out, and I really want it to work out. Well, then what's going to happen is I'm going to start to bend it, and it's going to start to reflect my views. See, this is Lucky's views. Okay, so this would be Lucky's views. So I might say that, my Lucky's partnership in it is walking all over the foundation of the question. Okay, so you got to be careful about that you don't project your wants and desires on the client and what you want the outcome to be, because that's going to shift what it is. That's first. Second, you may see something and then get something, and it may be answering the exact question that the person's really asked. So let's say they want a job. It's like, am I going to get this job, right? And then you throw, let's say you throw this, I want to get the job, and then you get the moon, okay, and then you get, okay, so, and then we're going to throw one more, the mice, okay, and then I'm going to throw one more, and that's the ship. So I got the moon. Okay, so let's say that I tune into something here and I start to say, okay, well, this is the moon, but I'm seeing her, I'm seeing the cow jumping over the moon. That's first. I'm seeing her in bed. This is from James Thurber's Many Moons, for those of you who've read the story. And this is the jester coming in. So I'm seeing her in bed, and I'm seeing comfortably in bed, and then jumping the moon, and I feel like, okay, this is gonna happen. Something's gonna come in that you didn't expect, or you're gonna do what the impossible is here. So maybe that's what I feel, and then maybe I go, yes. So maybe I say, yes, you're gonna get it. But maybe what I should have done is said, okay, well, I see you comfortably, I see you in a comfortable place. Not whether or not, because then it comes up and she says, well, I didn't get the job. And then you go, well, it was weird, I saw you in a comfortable place. Well, that doesn't mean that you were necessarily wrong. It means that you saw her in a comfortable place being taken care of, but maybe that job wasn't the way that it happens. So the subtlety is recognizing what the oracle is really telling you. Is it saying, hey, I'm answering the question that you want? Because a lot of times what happens is they get so hung up on their desires and what they want. But the real question is, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be taken care of? And this is a situation where I feel like you're going to be taken care of. And so maybe in that, when I'm working with the client, I go, you're going to be taken care of. And that's much different from you're going to get this particular job. That's one thing right there. So then you get, in that case, to the real question, which is what are they really asking? And what they're really asking in this case is, am I going to be taken care of? And you go, you look, I feel like you're going to be taken care of. And they're like, well, no, I want to know, am I going to get this job? And then what happens at that moment is you go, look, what I'm getting is that you're going to be taken care of. And you could feel at that moment like that whole job question is being locked down. And it could be it's their fears, their desires, or they haven't made their decision of where their future is going to go yet. And you may get them at that one moment where it's all kind of hazy. And by the way, if it were the moon, I'd go, well, it's still kind of hazy. It's really hazy now. But the feeling is that you're going to be taken care of. And then if I go further, I could go, you know, there's another feeling here that I see you wanting to stay in your comfort zone. And though you're going to be taken care of, I feel like this job thing that you're asking, the fear is that you're going to go out of it. So that you went with the initial, okay, look, I feel like you're going to be taken care of, which was the real question that they wanted to know. But then, if they go, well, am I going to get this job? Well, maybe the real thing below the job is that they're afraid to get out of their comfort zone, and that's going to interfere it. But the real concern is, am I going to be safe? Well, you're going to be safe. The problem comes when you go, okay, well, yes. See, I see you being taken care of, so yes, you're going to get this job. And then what happens is the person doing the reading does that. They go, they got a real vibe from their intuition that said, hey, look, I see you being taken care of. And instead of saying that to the client, they go, well, that must mean that you're going to get this job. See? And so what happens is, instead of telling what the oracle was telling, was they're asking the question, the real question, am I going to be taken care of? It's real subtle. But it's the difference between someone go, hey, you said I was going to get that job. And you go, no, I said you were going to be taken care of, which was the real concern that you had. And that's what the oracle was telling. See? And it's very subtle. So sometimes it's really important to go with the vibe that you got and go with what really comes out. It's like, look, I see you being taken care of. And then if you want to go deeper, you're like, hey, look, I see you like feeling like you're in a comfortable place, and is, you know, and then you could take it further and then go, are you afraid to come out of your comfort zone? Are you afraid of getting this job? There's another thing that happens, and then I discussed this in that other video. Sometimes you see it. Sometimes you see an answer. So let's say we got a relationship question, right? And these happen all the time. Are they going to come back to me? Are they going to come back to me? Get that all the time, and people ask that. Is he coming back? Is she coming back? And it's like, okay, so here's the key. Okay, now I'm going to go with this one as it is. Is he coming back? I'm going to go with what's on the card here. This is Bluebeard. This is a moment where he gave her a key to every lock in the castle, for those of you who've read the story. And he said, you can go in every room in the house but the one. And what did she do? She wasn't happy with every room in the house. She had to go in the one that she was told not to. So he gave her everything she ever wanted. She had prosperity, she had health, she had everything she wanted. And all he says is, you got a key to every one in the house, every room in the house, every room in the castle. Just don't go in this one. So now I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's what's jumping out at me. And if I go, okay, you got a key to every room in the house, but don't go in that one, then instead of saying yes or no, I may look at them and go, why do you want the one thing that you can't have when you can have everything else? So it's not a question anymore of, well, are they coming back or are they not? Then you turn it back and you go, well, why do you want everything else but the one that you can't have? Or why do you want the one that you can have everything else in the world, but the one you can have? So I may go, hey, well, it looks like they're getting key to everything. Well, that means yes. But instead, if I actually say, well, it looks like you've got a key to everything you could possibly want but that door, that's a very different thing. And I'm going exactly with what my intuition is telling me versus going, well, it looks like she's being given the keys to everything, so that's a yes. And there's a difference, because then you go, well, Yes. If you just go yes, then she goes, well, he didn't come back. Then you go, well, I don't understand. And then what happens is the reader starts beating themselves up. They go, well, I was wrong. Well, were you wrong? Or did you just not say exactly what your intuition was because you were pressured by giving this person a yes or a no? Because, and in another video I did, go back and look at the playing card video on yes or no. You got to be careful with these yes or no questions. Some people want a yes or no, and the situation is a lot more complicated than yes or no. Now, look, I am just like grazing the surface of how deep this kind of subtlety gets. And this is the stuff I normally go over people in classes and stuff, but it's something that you should be aware of. Sometimes your intuition and the oracle tells you exactly what is going on, and it's not a yes or no. It's something else. It's something more subtle. So in this case, if I'm really on my intuition, I'm going, well, you know, you're being given the key to everything else in the castle, but that one door. Why do you want to go in that one door? And I'm not going to tell you guys what was in that door. Read the story and you'll find out what was behind that door. She should have listened to him, is all I'm going to say. So in that case, I go, well, I feel like you've got a lot of opportunities for relationships. So my feeling is, yes, a relationship is coming, but it may or may not be that one. And if it is, the intuition is telling me that's the door she shouldn't unlock. So now we've got a case of it's a much more complicated situation because of her desire and her fear and her, I've got to have this. What people don't understand is that we are, for those of you who do tarot readings, there's usually a hope and fears. There's a hope and fears box in some of the spreads that people do. Like that Celtic Cross one has a hopes and a fears space, right? And then what happens is that this is an old concept. People get tossed back and forth on hope and on the, it's like the horns of a dilemma is what, the old thing, it wasn't a horns of a dilemma, it was like being tossed back on the horns of hope and fear. So if you've got the horns of a bull, one is hope, one is fear, and people are tossed back and forth all day long. And what happens is they come to you while they're in the middle of being tossed back and forth. And what that is doing is that's churning up what's coming to them. And in most cases, people can't focus long enough to say, look, this is the outcome I'm going to make happen, or this is the outcome I want, or this is the outcome that's coming. Because they're so back and forth that everything churns up. And then what, at the moment, you're reading could be a yes. Yes, at this moment. They leave you then, they get so full of themselves, they say, well, I don't know if that's true, I don't know if they were right, I don't know, and then they churn it up again, and then it ends up, they end up crushing the possibility that was coming their way. And they push it away. I once saw this happen with someone in the lottery. She had everything coming her way for the lottery, and she pushed it away. I'm not going to tell you how I know that, but I did. I watched it. I watched it very closely. There's another thing. I watch people with their desires all the time. There are two people, two clients I had over the last year, and I'm going to talk about it because they were warned. So, but I had two clients over the last year. One of them wanted to get in a situation where he wanted this thing, and I said, look, if you go for this thing, you're going to lose everything. And he wouldn't give it up. He kept saying it was in relation to a parent and that he needed it for the parent, but it had nothing to do with the parent. All I could see all over was his desires all over it. And he says, what happens if I get this? And I said, well, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And he went out and he said, well, he says, okay, I'm going to cut myself out of it. I'm going to do it all for my parent. And it happened he's poised to lose everything now. The parent died, stuck with the thing. He's going to lose everything based on it, based on his, I got to do it. I had another one who was warned by, if you engage in this kind of behavior, you're going to lose everything. And he took it with a grain of salt and then immediately dove into that kind of behavior, and he lost everything. Everything. Everything he had, he has lost because he engaged in that kind of behavior. And that was the turning point at the moment where he could have gone another direction and changed it. And I started talking about this in my last video on karma. So remember, guys, it's sometimes a lot more subtle in a lot of cases than yes or no. There's usually a lot more going on in a situation, and there's a lot more happening with time and with people's minds than people understand. The mind affects everything. Now, for you guys who are readers, this is to encourage you that just because your intuition had something and you felt it, and you're like, I knew it, and then what I watch people do all the time, they go beat themselves up. I was wrong. And then they beat themselves up, and then what happens is they beat themselves up and tell themselves they're wrong, and they can't do anything. You know, and so then what happens when you're, here we go. So like now you try to read and you're all, what do you got? You got chaos of the mind. Okay? So that's it. If you start beating yourself up, if you go to that place where you doubt yourself and you beat yourself up, it creates chaos. I'm Lucky Lynx. If you want to learn more about the subtleties, I'm teaching classes. I'm teaching a class on, lower the music there. I am doing a class on Lenormand. I'm doing a class on tarot. I will be doing a class on a grand tableau. So I'm doing a basic Lenormand class right now. I have a grand tableau class that is coming in probably about 2 weeks. I will be doing a crystal ball class at the end of August. And I have a playing card class. So if you'd like to take a class with me, they're all virtual. They all come with 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me by video chat or by phone, whatever you choose. And then the video lectures are posted in a private Facebook group. So if you want to learn more about how to do this and how to decipher these subtleties, especially you guys who you feel like, well, I did it wrong, and then you beat yourself up, there's no need to. Oh, I'm also going to be doing a Mexican Loteria class soon, if you're interested in that. So I will start taking registrations for these if you want. The Loteria one I think is going to be probably in the fall. And the crystal ball one I think is at the end of August. But then I am going to be doing a grand tableau, a class just on the grand tableau in Lenormand in a couple weeks. So that's it. I hope this makes sense. It's a subtle point. Remember, it may not be that you were wrong. It may just be that your intuition was telling you something and you went, okay, I interpreted it for the yes and no of their question, but what it was really telling me was the real base of the question. So I felt like, yes, there is a relationship coming. There's lots of relationship possibilities for you. It's just that, so I go, yes, I feel a relationship coming, so it must be this. But maybe what it's telling you is, no, every other relationship possibility in the world is open to you. Why do you want the door that's locked? And then put it back, you can put it back on the client and ask them, why is it that you want this? And then it may open up a whole new thing of say, okay, well, I'm afraid of new, and then you may find, well, I'm afraid of starting a new relationship. And then that leads to something. You go, well, why? And then, then I have to go out and be social and I have to meet someone new. So then you go, okay, this person wants to be with this other person simply because they don't want to be alone. They're afraid of being alone. And they don't want to have to go out and be social again. So they'll bind themselves to something that isn't working. And then now you've got the whole understanding of what's really going on in the relationship. I'm Lucky Lynx. As always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. If you want to schedule a reading, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. If you like these videos and you want to keep them going, then I'm going to put a PayPal link in the thing below and you can donate. If you want to take a class, again, one of the classes that I mentioned, if you want to, there's a couple of them running right now. I can fit you right into them, and everyone who's in my classes reports an increase in their abilities. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.